Hey, I bet he want a one-on-one. He said he want to record his one-on-one. That's what he trying to do. That's gonna tell you stop arguing with him just better. I'm telling him he tripping, folks. I already know, folks. That's what I'm saying, folks. Y'all gonna end up trying to jump him and shit. Try to give me your way. Had to start with an A. Fell out of the cage. Ran the block while you changed. Welcome to Itzmilk.
Yeah. It's my first time doing this.
What's the deal?
But the title
YouTube,
made me want to
just.
The
deal? You know what I mean? Welcome to Itzmilk TV. Itzmilk.
Hold on.
North, south, east. What's the deal? Y'all already know the script. Let's take them 7.4 seconds and get our minds right before we get into this. Come on.
I was ready. I was ready. I was ready at 5.5 seconds.
Adam 22 sat down for an interview with Andrew from the Channel 5 YouTube, but things went left because Andrew started to press. He started to press Gilligan 22. So we gonna react to it. Y'all gonna drop your thoughts in the comment section.
Let's
the
get
links
it.
to my Instagram will be in the description. Go over there and follow me. Come on.
Drill music is bad for society. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm in the whip though.
People
right now
are in gangs.
Hold on. I'm in the whip right now here in Florida. Just chilling. Posted. I mean, I seen the video. You know, I know how my dude Milk do. I know how the most hated, most influential. Know what I mean? Most. Know what I mean? Most populist YouTuber is, know what I mean, when it comes to these reactions. So I want, know what I mean, I'm always watching my lope, know what I mean, so I'm like, shit, I want to get with it, know what I mean, I want to get with it, know what I mean, you got to, yeah, I just want to be, yeah.
Songs about it and making it sound super cool. And even me as like a 30-year-old white man, I listen to it and I think that it sounds kind of cool, and I struggle with that. But definitely I think it's probably
30-year-old white man from New Hampshire.
As much as I like listen to it, it's probably got to be a net negative for society, right?
Yeah.
Just the romanticization of violence in general.
Do you think you help make it look cool?
I don't know. I feel like when they're on a beat with a fucking 808 going crazy, and they're able to like rhyme and make less sense, that probably is like when it sounds coolest, because they don't really talk about that in interviews, right? I mean, most.
Look how the Gilligan just deflected, bro. That's not what he asked.
Facts,
he
though.
asked you, do you feel like
you popularize it, glamorize it too?
Like, and you do. You feel me? Because if you didn't, if you felt like it was just such like a bad thing for the culture, then why do you go so hard to like promote it? Anything that happened, bro, somebody could put something on Twitter, bro. Y'all gonna screenshot it, make a whole thumbnail and gonna post it.
You got his brother up there after that unfortunate event.
Music, scene, y'all is all on it. You know what I mean? No jumper. Yeah, you make it cool. They know if they make a crazy song and beef on the internet, then Adam 22 is gonna hit him up for the interview next, fast, like in 7.4 days.
Facts, big facts.
They know this, bro. You do make it cool.
Gilligan killer, Gilligan hunter. You right.
Yeah, this is crazy, but come on.
All the Chicago like gang members or whatever, it's like the amount of like street shit you're gonna be able to get them to talk about in an interview is pretty minimal in comparison to the stuff that they're essentially saying.
Asking niggas this type of shit anyway.
Yeah.
So I get niggas fed
like a lot of like gang members do come on this podcast, right?
No, yeah, definitely. But I just like, okay, there's different ways of being a gang member in your music, right? Like when you look at LA, that's one thing we always point out is that, you know, Chicago, it's so the norm to talk about the intricacies of who you got beef with and shit. In LA, they just very small percentage of artists out here do it.
Yeah, it just must be crazy because like you talk to so many people who like have died recently. Like you're like the last person.
And you know what's crazy? I think my interview with him is what kicked the whole situation off. I'm not lying, bro. Y'all can let me know if y'all think I'm tweaking, but like once he got me, he seen that I was making reaction videos on people. He knew like the position that I was in, so he got me. And then everybody that I had beef with, bro, he started going to get him. And then that led to more gang members
Gilligan shit.
And rapping
Gilligan.
gangbangers and shit like that, bro.
No Gilligans.
A lot of gangbangers do be on your platform.
You hear that
Is this like
thunder?
a hip-hop platform for rap music? Or is this a gangbanging platform for gangbangers? Let us know. Come on.
Come on.
Review FBG Cash.
Right there. His name's on the wall.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, I just kind of wonder, like, if you ever feel like, with this podcast, like, if you, like, platform certain people, like, if that, in turn, informs, like, a lot of the civilian public about, like, stuff that they maybe shouldn't know about, you know?
But, I mean, if you were to go through that Cash interview, like, what could you really point out that you'd be like, look at this crazy shit that he said about somebody else? It's, like, very little. But then when you listen to his songs,
Yeah.
it's all out there.
I
It's
guess that's kind of the conflict of, like, interviewing
that's
people
the
in that
thing.
position, right?
yeah.
But look what he's saying, bro. He just, this shit is crazy. Every time you ask him a question, he deflects the whole situation, bro. He said, by you platforming certain people, you don't think that that's like opening the eyes to the regular civilians of what's going on in the streets and in the gang world, bro? He's basically saying, like, why are you doing that? You ain't supposed to be doing that. But every time, Gilligan 22 hit him with the deflect. He tried to detour.
But what about-
No punk, stay on this path. Stay on the path at hand, Lo.
You know what I mean? Stop wandering.
Because, like, they're not going to want to talk about it in an interview.
Exactly.
But the music is all about it.
Which is this kind of like funny contradiction that you can put it out there in song, but then you can't talk about it in an interview, even though I would assume that like legally it's probably
Yeah.
going to be treated exactly the same.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. Because then you got to avoid that, like, whole snitch thing. Like, criticism of doing an
Well,
interview.
but the whole thing with like lyrics is like lyrics are art. Like lyrics shouldn't be used in court or whatever. That's
Yeah.
a relatively easy argument to make, I would say. But like interview, like an interview's art. Like you shouldn't be able to use an interview in court. Like that doesn't sound like that argument's going anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. You still talk to C-Mac at all?
Yeah, we talked to him the other day.
Yeah, I talked to him too. He called us from jail. We put some money on his books today, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that too. It's such a fucking pain in the ass every time I got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
How much you sent him?
Like $150.
It's funny because one time he put us on group text and he was just like,
If you don't think that the interviews can be used as like art, you know, the same as rap
He was
lyrics,
getting indicted over
then
songs.
why would you get on here and
And bagged
interview
over
people
songs.
and know
Bobby
that they don't know
Shmurda.
the ropes, but you get on here and have them speak about all this crazy shit, Lo? That's crazy, right? Did you not just hear what he said? And then Andrew said, you know, we paid some dollars on C-Mac books. Have you? Nah, you know, every time I think about it, it's too difficult. Like, you don't know how to do it, bro. So you got
Gilligan.
all them people in your office. I'm pretty sure every
Goofy.
single one of them then sent somebody some dollars in jail. you Google everything else, so you can't find out, like all these
How to
people
do
you
that?
know, you can't find out how to go put some money on
Cat.
his books, Lo. That's scandalous, cutthroat, and that should just show people that he don't care, bro. All that money that he made off of them Cluck Mac interviews and C-Mac interviews, he wasn't paying C-Mac like that, Lo, because he was taking advantage of him. You can't go pick, like, $555 on his books, Lo.
555, you heard?
That shit is scandalous, bro. What do you mean? It's
Yeah, we
you
get
don't
by,
know
we
how
get
all
by.
the people around you, and you can't do it. You don't know how. You can't figure it out. That's cap. That's game.
Yeah.
You real lame.
Using niggas.
Come on.
asking for like shout outs kind of like over and over like, and I realized I'm like, oh, so he does this to Andrew too, like he's because he has a new Instagram every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Do you see his OnlyFans?
No,
I did.
you hit me up right away.
Yeah, instantly. Did you watch this? It was the first video is him like eating ass for like 20 minutes.
But just a random woman, not Lupe.
I thought it was Lupe.
Yeah,
Until you clarified that it wasn't.
because I hit him up and then he was like, oh, that's not her.
Yeah, I don't think Lupe would do it. They're like brother and sister.
No, super weird. But I feel like he likes toying with that idea. He wants people to think that that might be what's happening.
Yeah, it's a good thing to get people to subscribe to it.
Yeah. So okay, what makes? How did you describe Crip Mac, and like what made you think like this is? You know, there's a lot of crazy ass rappers out there, a lot of crazy gang members, whatever. Why did you decide this was the guy that was worthy of the Channel 5 treatment?
Well, I just thought that he was like a great like person to interview. I think the 5 on the face, Channel 5. 5. I
Oh,
just
wow,
thought he
yeah.
was like an interesting character because, you know, and if you watch our interview with him, like we purposely strayed away from discussing any type of like gang politics, and that's probably the last interview of that kind we will do.
Really?
Yeah, just because I feel that, like, for example, right, when you cover a subject that relates to like anything about gang culture, you're basically making a bunch of people aware of it who shouldn't, because it's a sad thing, and there's not that many people that are actively involved like in violence. And it's kind of
That
what
want
DJ
you
Academics did with War in Chirac, where he
be
basically
doing
turns a
that.
sad situation into like a true crime spectacle for millions of people to mythologize and
Certainly
look in from the
did.
outside. And
Right.
before you know it, that in turn amplifies conflict in the streets, because it just creates a YouTube algorithm that facilitates like all these offshoot bloggers who dedicate their time to like explaining these beefs that are sad and people shouldn't know about. So I felt that I'm happy that we did the interview with him, but that's why we took him to the Slipknot concert. That's why we went to Skid Row. Is like we didn't want to ask him like, how do you feel about your enemies?
Right, yeah.
What would you do if you saw them? And it's just, I don't know. It's a tough one.
He didn't want to ask him, you know, what would he do if he seen his enemies. He didn't want to ask him about his enemies. He basically telling Gilligan 22, I don't want to ask him the shit that you asked him, because everything he just said, that's what Gilligan 22 do. Yeah,
Yup.
Cluck Mac,
Get-
what about this beef? Who
Get
do you
you
beef
did
with? What,
and get
who
you
do
to
your
be telling
hood
on
beef with?
yourself.
Like,
Looking like
King
a
Yellow,
Gilligan,
what you gonna do if
goofy.
you see Tato, or yeah, like what you gonna do if you see Woo-doo-doo,
A sausage
like
handler.
shit like that. Like he always do that shit, bro. He's a shit
He
starter.
do.
He's messy.
Yeah,
But he
he's a
ain't
sausage
around.
handler.
When the messiness turn around, he gone.
He gonna take a flight. He out of
Come
town.
on.
That was the thing, the biggest rule we ever put on him, or the main thing. Because, like, okay, the first interview, we didn't tell him, don't talk about your enemies or whatever, which is extra prickly for us because we have people who are, like, directly involved with the brand, who technically are part of, you know, street shit that he's opposed to, whatever. And so the first interview after he got done, he says to his manager, I think it was ODM Slim at the time, he says, you like that? I didn't diss my enemies. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. He wanted to make a point out of it. This is his first interview. He wants to make a point out of not dissing his enemies or whatever. But then as time goes by, I'm sure you noticed this. Every time you're around Kurt Mac, you would kind of get like a different version of him.
Yeah.
Where he might be like really happy and jovial. And then I've also dealt with like the super like down in the dumps, kind of like low energy Kurt Mac. I'm sure the fans see it at home too. But yeah, we definitely did like one episode where he was dissing other hoods and stuff.
Yeah, I just mean the general public is obsessed with gangs. Like the YouTube population is obsessed with knowing all this information about different rivalries and stuff. And like I said, creating a true crime thing for them to follow. And so I didn't feel like I wanted to like encourage or promote or grow that sort of online following. Because if you look at what happened in Chicago, I mean, just it was such an internet shitstorm. Like me in Seattle, just being a kid listening to this music, before I knew it, I was in a 6-hour YouTube hole, learning all this information about like the war in Chirac. I know all of these. I don't even want to say them. I know so many different like names of gangs and names of people who have passed away. These are people that I have never met and would have never known about if it wasn't for like the music journalism, true
Sensationalization
crime thing that emerged from like the music that blew up. So I felt like I had a responsibility to do that and then kind of step away from it. I know this platform's a bit different, but it's a sad thing. And like if you think about why some of these gangs started, it is because of shit like segregation and redlining, and I feel like it validates a thing that is sad when you put someone in a gang on a platform and you make it seem like they're really doing something. Like this is important. Like it validates like a negative, destructive way of life, because you're like, oh yep, like you are this, like you can get a big platform by coming on my show and talking about that. Yeah.
But it's like, as a content creator, you kind of have to follow the incentives to a certain extent. And it's like when the people tell you that they want to hear about something, it's like, because I've
The
done
people
many
don't
interviews
exist.
in my day with
That's
people
an
that I thought were
excuse.
doing something dope artistically or whatever, and it just goes nowhere because they have there's nothing to really hang their hat on. There's nothing like really interesting bringing people into it. Then you could interview that same rapper 2 years later when there's some kind of conflict that happens, something people genuinely want to hear about, and people are all over it. It's like it's tough to get away from the fact that the fans just want what they want.
Have you ever turned down an interview because you like it?
That's all he go for. He just admitted it. That's all he go for. He really only want people to get interviewed on No Jumper that got some type of controversy or beef going on. Straight, that's the only time he gonna interview you.
Yeah.
Unless he just really want to interview you. But other than that, nah, you gotta have some controversy, some beef, just went down, just got out, some shit like that, low.
Corny sideline ass
Just ain't getting
nigga.
interview for your talent. Come on.
You a corny ass sideline nigga. Sideline dude.
Or something.
I mean, sideline bars and shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Side mirror
Probably
shit.
a lot of interviews I've turned down in terms of like, not wanting to bring attention to certain things or, just platforming people in general. I mean, I know you guys kind of deal with that as well, where it's like who you talk to or who you don't talk to is just really saying a lot about what you think your company stands for, right?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you about it because we deal with the same thing.
Definitely. Well, it brings me to a quote that I want to bring up that I always think about, which is the medium is the message. Like, how does the platform that you're uploading content to or putting content on, how does that change?
No
the
Jumper
content
says it's
itself?
about the bullshit.
I was, listening to a podcast the other day
Promoting.
that was talking about how Abraham Lincoln,
Furthering.
as a president, probably could not have existed in the TV age. He's like sad, tall, weird, super serious, just like a very like not made for TV type of figure. But then TV comes around, and who you get? You get John F. Kennedy. You get like a polished fucking
Handsome ass
celebrity.
dude.
Yeah. Who a lot of people didn't really agree with on politics, but they liked him.
Andrew is like the first person that I ever seen even question him about that, even bring shit up like that during an interview. That's crazy, bro. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be platforming everybody. Cluckmack shouldn't have never been platformed with that tattoo on his head, period, bro. Gilligan 22 knew what he was doing when he did that, bro, because that shit was gonna start the controversy, because he said he doing what the fans want. So he knew if he brought him on there, that was gonna start all type of shit. And just keep up the videos, like him interviewing people and shit, all over the beef, bro.
Yep. That's all it was. That's all it was. There was nothing else to it. Straight clout
He makes
chasing.
real music. He make.
All right, Lo, you good? Hey, get your breath low. Damn. That guy's choking your ass,
He making like beefing on the internet, like shit like that controversy. He making that cool look, period. And girls doing a whole lot of weird shit just to get interviewed by them and shit. Doing a whole lot of creep shit to me. Y'all let me know what y'all think
Straight
about
creep.
this whole little situation in the comment section. If you ain't subscribed, do it right now.
Don't be a
Don't be
Gilligan.
no recurring viewer Gilligan.
Don't
do
be a
that, bro.
goofy.
And like I
Don't be a
said,
side
I'm
mirror
outta here. Get your
motherfucker.
mind right into the next Itzmilk video.
Holla.
Charlie Chris thinks Joe Biden is the best
Holla.
president of his
So
lifetime.
Thank God.